episode 48 of the Travel Bros podcast. We are back. Jamie is back. Everybody's back. We've all been gone for a little bit. Last couple episodes we did a little pre-recorded, but we're back live in action now. Jamie went to England and went to a hotel that I had made a bunch of plans to go to, and I haven't done it yet. So probably not going now. But luckily, Jamie has gone. He went to the Fairmont Windsor Park, which is a 40-acre hotel, a really gorgeous property from everything I've seen. Jamie, tell us about Fairmont Windsor Park, and why don't you tell us what Windsor Castle is? Because that's the hotel's kind of in that general vicinity.
I just got back, I don't know, a week or two ago, and this is a really cool property. So it is set on, like you said, 40 acres. Feels like you're going into, like an old manor, type area. And I didn't realize this until after I stayed there, or actually I asked one of the people at the front desk towards the end. I thought this was an old, like manor house or something that was converted into a luxury hotel. Turns out, the property itself was this, old estate. However, it was a fully brand new, built from the ground up hotel, which makes sense because as I was staying there, I'm like, these rooms are way too big to be an old building. And like, the layout was just, it felt too modern. I'm like, it would be really difficult to turn an old building into this. So it actually was a ground up build, opened in 2022. So it is a very new hotel. Exterior, like I said, looks very old estate kind of feel, but inside rooms are very modern. Everything felt very, very new and modern in there, from the fitness center, restaurants, hallways, everything. So pretty awesome. Now for Windsor Castle, so if you don't know what Windsor Castle is, it is actually what I think I said the oldest and largest, like, continually occupied castle in the world. Oh yeah, world's oldest and largest. It's been home to 40 monarchs since it was built in the 11th century. I'm just pulling some facts up that I had. This was known as the Queen Elizabeth II. Windsor was her favorite weekend home. Basically, Buckingham Palace was her office, and this was where she spent most weekends. What else? We got lots of royal weddings here. So Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were married here. Prince Edward and Sophie Jones in 1999. Prince Eugene and Jack Brooksbank in 2018. So lots of royal weddings. This is maybe like 10 or 15 minutes from the hotel. And what's cool about that, I mean, there's tons of stuff. You can go visit the castle. You can visit the grounds. You can pay to go inside the castle. But if you're visiting London and you want to do changing of the guards, they do a changing of the guards here. And it is far less crowded than in London. So this is a cool option if you want to do changing of the guards.
So here's a few quick little tidbits, Jamie. You're correct. They built that whole thing from the ground up, but they did build it in a Jacobean style mansion, which is essentially like a English country house from the reign of King James. So 1600 to I think 1650. That was kind of like the style, which known as like prodigy houses. However, just a quick note and a shout, because we've done this as well. If you're kind of bummed out that this is a new luxury hotel build, but you still want to do the English countryside experience, go way back in our archives to, I think, maybe episode 2 or episode 3. I can even verify which episode it is real quick. Yeah. Oh, it is episode 2. I was right. Let's go all the way back to episode 2. I stayed at the Four Seasons Hampshire, which is an actual Georgian mansion from King George. You can obviously, gather the theme here, which this hotel has a rich history. In fact, King Henry VIII acquired this manor in 1539, and it was believed that he met one of his wives, I think he had a lot of them, at this property. And this state is also linked to the era of like King John and Magna Carta. So this is like a lot of crazy history here.
Yep.
So that is actually still the Georgian mansion that was built way back in the 17s. This property itself is well known since the 1500s, but they've actually restored it, and it very much feels like a restored building. So if you're flipped on the experience, that is also an option. We've talked about it, and I think probably equally these properties are both pretty good with kids, pretty decent on luxury. The Four Seasons is a lot bigger, but it's another 30, 40 minutes away from Heathrow, but still not, it's within an hour's drive. So it's not that.
Being you mentioned that, I will say this was a really nice way to kind of end our trip. I mean, you're only, I want to say we were like 12 or 15 minutes from the airport. So as far as, if you want to end your trip and have super easy way to, shoot back to the airport and get out of there without having to worry about traffic or anything like that, that was a really nice way to end it.
Okay, perfect.
One other thing, talking about Windsor Castle, it's called the Long Walk. It is a almost 3 mile long walk, basically from, I think it's, what is the statue it's at? A copper horse statue of King George, all the way to the front gates of the Windsor Castle. And it is a like super picturesque, super beautiful, probably one of the coolest pictures you can get. You don't need to pay to go in the castle to enjoy this walkway. So if you go into town, to visit the castle or just do some shopping and eating, you can also go and do this walkway, which is great for some photo ops.
Well, start breaking it down for us, Jamie. What was your room types? And then, what you guys do? What do you guys like about the property?
So we had 2 rooms. I honestly think we probably could have got away with one, because one of the rooms that we had, I really, really liked, and it was super big. It was called the Deluxe Double room, and it's more of a junior suite, I would say. They call it a double room, but it has 2 queen size beds, which was really nice. So the kids stayed in this room, but 2 queen size beds, had a it's a connected living room area, but a full living room area with couch, 2 chairs, table. So a really big area to hang out in. So it was nice having this room where we could hang out. It had a really large, like, walk-in closet where we could keep, I mean, you could store tons of luggage, tons of clothing. Like, I mean, it was huge. And then the bathrooms here are really, like I said, it's a modern hotel. So really nice bathrooms, huge, tubs, separate walk-in showers. The decor is really nice. A lot of it is like this gray, kind of modern feel, but with some, nice, I don't know, like elegant touches. Like the ceilings all were really cool patterns of like wallpaper. All the finishes and everything in the rooms were really nice. So that room was great. It was almost 500 square feet. And then Melissa and I just had a regular king room, which was, for 2 people, it's plenty. You've got, bed, really nice bathroom, but not a ton of extra space, like to hang out, little, 2-seater table, things like that. But rooms were really nice. Like I said, you could definitely get away with, if you were 4 people for a shorter stay, the Deluxe Double, which is kind of nice, finding a hotel that actually will allow you to sleep 4 in a room
Hmm.
there. So that was a nice option. The hotel itself had a lot to do just in general. So we stayed for 3 nights. We didn't have to leave a whole lot. We stayed in London for, I want to say 4 or 5 nights before we came here. So we were kind of, we did lots of activities. So we came here, it was more to just relax and hang out. And there's quite a bit to do here, both inside and outside. They have bikes that you can take out, and there's paths all around the property. And if you want, I mean, they allow you to take them out wherever you want to bike to. We stayed on the property because the roads are pretty narrow, and I did not feel comfortable having my kids ride bikes outside on these kind of narrow 2-lane roads. But you have that. You've got tennis courts. You've got paddle courts. There's a nice playground for the kids. There's I don't remember what they call it, but basically like a wooded area that, the kids can play in. It's not a full-on playground, but they call it like something squirrels, like wooded hideout, and you could go in there. That felt more for younger kids than, my age kids, but just another thing to do there. They had a really pretty garden area. And I think back in the day, probably its previous life, was actually the tennis courts, like the old tennis courts. And they took those down and built gardens here, which was really pretty. So you can, spend time hanging out in the garden. They've got, I'm trying to think what else, indoor and outdoor pools. So the pools were beautiful. They have set hours for kids in the morning and in the afternoon. So it's not just, if you want to have relaxing spa time, you can have it without the kids. But I want to say from like 8 to 10 in the morning, they had kids swim time, and then maybe 4 to 6 in the afternoon, something like that. There was kids swim time.
Did you feel like the property was more, were kids just welcomed, or were kids like thought of, do you feel like, on property?
I do think, I mean, like, our kids are older, so there wasn't a ton of, we weren't looking for a kids club or anything like that, which I'm pretty sure they have like some kids activities, but you can definitely tell that they put quite a bit of thought into things to do for the kids. Like I said, they have a really nice new, like, big playground. And then right when you walk into the hotel on the left-hand side, I thought this was really cool. There's like a whole candy store. Now, not free or anything, but there's a true, like, it's a really cool candy store. I've got some videos of it, but it is definitely, I mean, that's for kids. It is like floor to ceiling candy and like different options and stuff there. So I would definitely say they have plenty to do for kids and geared towards kids. Like the bikes, they have children's bikes that you can borrow. Those are free. I will add that valet parking and self parking are both included, which is really nice. I wasn't sure when I got there. And I valet parked and I was waiting for, $50 a day charge or something like that. And it was included. So that was kind of a nice surprise. I don't know what this is for. I probably should have asked while I was there, but they have this really cool Rolls Royce golf cart and it's right by the entrance. It's really cool. I'm sure they can drive you to the tennis courts and things like that if you ask them to, but it was cool. They have a really neat Rolls Royce golf cart that I've got a video of. We can probably link in there, but I thought that was pretty unique as well.
I always see a little kid sitting in. Looks like a little Land Rover Defender like golf cart as well.
Yeah, I did see that. I didn't see it while I was there, but yeah, I definitely think they have like lots of like kids activities and things.
Okay. Oh, it's Mr. Sims is the name of the candy store. It's UK's largest family of traditional sweet shops. It looks cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. Kids get a kick out of going and picking out some candy and stuff. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. One thing that I really want to hit on here, and this completely shocked me, particularly in Europe, England. I'm not used to seeing really nice fitness centers in hotels. I feel like a lot of times it's an afterthought. When I walked into the fitness center at this hotel, I was blown away for a couple reasons. One, it was huge, great equipment, like multiple rooms. They had like Pilates rooms with all the Pilates machines. They had other rooms for classes. They had free weights that went up to, I want to say dumbbells went up to at least 100 pounds, if not more than that. Tons of cardio equipment, tons of machines. But what kind of surprised me was like, there's a lot of people here working out. There was probably 3 personal trainers working out with clients while I was there. And I'm like, This is one of the busier hotel fitness centers I've seen. And then as I was working out, I noticed that a lot of people were talking with each other and seemed to know each other, which that's not normal. I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird. So I did a little more research. Locals in the area can join the fitness center at the hotel. It's not cheap. I want to say it was like $400 or $500 a person per month, but it made sense now. I was like, okay, this makes sense why there's people here that are working out with trainers and that seem to know each other. They probably see each other every day. Now, didn't make it like we're as busy where you couldn't get on equipment or machines or anything, but it was an observation I made. Normally, you may see 3 or 4 people at the fitness center working out, where this was like, 10 or 12 people there and multiple were working out with trainers, which I thought was kind of interesting. Fitness center is connected to the spa. I did not get a spa treatment while I was there, but the spa, again, this place is brand new. I think it has 18 treatment rooms, steam room, sauna. It connects to the pool area. There's like a little spa cafe area down there where you can hang out and, have drinks and things like that, which was really nice. Pulling up some of these things. Tons of group classes at the fitness center too. I didn't do any of those, but I did see that there was quite a bit of different things. Like they had HIIT training, they had the Pilates stuff, they had a cycling studio. If you were wanted to make this a wellness trip, do spa and workout, like this would be a great spot to go for a few nights to just not even have to leave the property if you didn't want to.
And did you have a Le Labo bath stuff in your room?
That's a great question. It's not something I'm good at taking notice of. I will hit while we're talking about it. I think we've done a full episode on this, but this is part of Fairmont's part of Accor. So this is a property that if you book with us, we can get you some added benefits. Breakfast for 2 daily, and the breakfast here was really good. $100 property credit, which you actually make out a little bit better right now on the conversion rate. I think they did 90 pounds for the property credit, which based on current conversion rate was like $115. So that was kind of nice. Welcome amenity, upgrade, early check-in, late checkout based on availability. So one of our rooms got that really nice upgrade to basically that junior suite. The other one, because we wanted to stay nearby, we just took the regular king room. When I originally booked, they had a 50% off family rate off the second room. But I checked closer in and they were running a 3rd night free promo. So I actually wound up rebooking it. And this worked out way better. If there's a promo going on, 3rd night free promo, actually worked out cheaper booking 2 rooms separately, because then you also got the breakfast on both rooms. You got the property credit on both rooms. So there's often some pretty decent promotions here that make it quite affordable for what you get.
Okay. And I mean, while we're talking about all that as well, do you want to give us a rundown on what Accor itself offers, like through the HERA program?
Yeah. So, not just at Fairmont. So Fairmont, Sofitel, raffles, any of the, there's lots of hotel brands in this program and similar benefits at all of them, right? You're going to get breakfast for two daily, $100 property credit, welcome amenity, upgrade early check-in, late checkout based on availability. So really some good value there. And again, like if there's promos going on, free night promos, they're typically included in with these benefits, which is really nice. And just to give, I know a lot of times we'll talk about pricing, to give you a feel for what pricing was here, particularly compared to in the city. I want to say when we stayed here with the third night free promo, 3 nights was about $1,500 US for 3 nights. So I felt like for what we got here, that's a really good value. This is true luxury property, really nice rooms, really great service. So pretty decent value if they got a free promo going on.
Yeah. And I feel like Celeste is another brand that falls in that. I feel like we've been booking a lot more Fairmont this year. Like we have a disproportionately high, I think, high amount of Fairmont based on how many properties they have. But I also have found in getting feedback from clients, like they're really doing a good job, it seems like, across the board. Like I was just in Chicago this week, but I had a friend that stayed at the Fairmont that I booked there because we had some other people at the JW Marriott and she missed that promo. But like she told me that they found out she was doing the marathon and they did a midday fruit plate delivery. Like they gave her bananas and apples like each day,
nice.
midday on top of everything else. And so like I've been finding more and more as we've been doing Fairmont, they do seem to really hold their travel agent clients to a high standard.
So, and I will say, we had one minor hiccup while we were here, and they did a great job fixing it. So it's kind of funny because I thought we did something. So we were in, I'm trying to think, we were in, I don't know if it was our room. So it was not the kids' room, it was our room. But Ashton was in there for some reason. I think he took a bath in the bathtub or whatever. Anyway, I woke up in the morning and the floor was soaking, like the carpet felt wet. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like, it's kind of damp. I'm like, oh, I wonder if he left a wet towel there or something. And then as the day went on, it actually got wetter and wetter. And I'm like, oh, this is actually like a puddle of water. I'm like, did he freaking overflow the bathtub? Like, what happened? And I'm looking, I'm like, it's not overflowed in there. And it just kept getting wetter and wetter. So finally I called the front desk. I'm like, hey, I think there's a leak in the wall. Cause it was only a small section, but I'm like, I think something's going on. They had somebody out to the room in like 15 minutes. He looks, he's like, yeah, I think there's something leaking in the wall. They came, they moved our bags to another room. Like they were super apologetic about it. And at first I was like, oh man, did we flood the room?
Yeah, it's never a good feeling.
Yeah. But yeah, it wound up being, there was a leak in the wall. I would say within an hour, they had us like packed and moved into, another room that was like 2 doors down. So we still weren't far from the other room. So I thought that was, I didn't ask for anything, but they were super nice about it.
Very cool. And did you buy, okay, so to confirm, you did have Le Labo products. It looks like Rose 21 is what they use. So
fancy.
Rose 31, sorry. So if your wife is a fan, but it looks like it is a scent made for Fairmont. So that's cool. So if you need to buy your wife a present, maybe write that down real quick since she liked it. Were you a proper Brit on this trip? I'm hoping the answer is yes, but I'm not sure. We haven't talked about this. Did you do the Orchard Tea Room? And did you have some afternoon tea and crumpets while you were
I did not.
There? I knew you were going to let me down.
I know. The only hot drink I drink is maybe hot apple cider and hot chocolate. I don't drink tea and I don't drink coffee, so it's kind of wasted on me, unfortunately.
When in Rome, Jamie. When in Rome.
I know. I did have bangers and mash, right?
Okay.
So I did fish and chips. Like I tried to do tried to eat local as much as I could. Trying to think what else. We did do, this isn't super close. It was probably 40 minutes away. We did the Harry Potter studio tour.
Okay.
I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. My son is. So we were like, hey, we did a bunch of stuff for my daughter when we were in London. We're like, he'll get a kick out of this. It is so impressive. I'm thinking studio tour. I'm like, we'll be there for like an hour and a half, like see a couple things. We were there for over 3 hours and it did not feel like, we were taking our time. There was so much to see there. All the sets and everything were really impressive. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, you could probably spend 5 hours there. It's really cool. So if you're in the area, I think that's worth checking out. Another thing, if you're in the area, we did not do this, but Legoland is fairly close to there. So that would be a cool option. That's also a good one. If there's bad weather, Legoland has an indoor mini golf course, which would be cool.
What are you trying to say about the weather in England, Jamie?
I mean, before we left, we showed rain every day and we didn't get rain at all when we were there. So you never know what you're going to get.
It's nice. So real quick, I want to pivot back this tea room because I do think this is kind of cool. Apparently before this was a hotel, the building or whatever that was here. This orchid room was used, they said, by the people that lived there to collect orchids from around the world and display them in this room. So I can't think of a more weird rich person thing you could ever do than collect flowers and put them in a room. So that's where the name comes from. Now, if you want to do an afternoon tea here and you're booking with us, we can obviously just arrange and get this booked for you. But the tea room does look like it's got pretty great value. Afternoon tea is £60 a person. If you want to do sparkling afternoon tea, £75 a person. And if you want tea and rosé, it's £80 a person. So I think price pretty friendly. There are like right now they're obviously doing autumn afternoon tea. It looks like you get quite a few little, mini pastries, chocolates, desserts with your tea, and then rosé if you get it. You have a pretty good window, 12:30 to 4:30, Monday to Sunday to do it. And then I think one of the other cool things to mention is I think the room is really well themed. If the weather is nice, there is a terrace, so you can do it outside. And then if the weather is not nice, they have pods. I don't know if you saw them over by the outdoor pool, Jamie, but
I
those
did.
pods like enclosed, so you could, if it's snowing, you could still do an outdoor tea time as well. So I thought it was just kind of cool to mention. I think it's not something you're going to see in a lot of hotels, especially being this close out of London, you're really able to use some of that space. And then did you guys do breakfast, Jamie? Where was it? What did it include? What did you get with your
Yeah,
booking?
I thought the breakfast was really good. Let me tell you the name of this place. I think this was Moorish was the breakfast restaurant. So it's a buffet as well as menu. So you can order from the menu plus, anything on the buffet you can get as well. I thought it was really well done. Tons of like fresh baked pastries. You can tell it wasn't something that was like, frozen. We defrosted, put it out. So really good pastries and stuff. They had crumpets, tons of fresh fruit. They got your traditional English breakfast, like beans and things like that. But we had breakfast there every day. I thought it was really good. Trying to think what we ordered off the menu. I feel like Ashton probably got avocado toast a day or two, but I thought it was really good. We also did room service 2 or 3 times while we were there. The first night I think we ordered room service for dinner. We got there pretty late after doing the Harry Potter thing
Okay.
all day, so we ordered room service. I thought it was really really good. And then another day Ashton was sick all day, so we literally had a day where we didn't do much of anything. Like we hung around the property, he stayed in the room. We ordered room service and just kind of hung out. So I thought the room service itself was good. The food was really good. Pricing wasn't outrageous for room service. You know, full setup. It's not like, they came in, set the table, whole nine. So I thought it was, like what you'd expect at a luxury hotel.
Okay. Can you do room service for breakfast or do you have to be in the restaurant?
I don't know the answer to that. I think it's restaurant only well, you can obviously order room service breakfast if you want to, but I think for like the Fairmont program, I believe it's only in the restaurant that breakfast is included.
Okay.
And I will say the breakfast pricing, if it's not included, was very expensive. I want to say it was like £45 or £50, which, in Freedom units, that's like $65.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a very valuable benefit that we add because where you are at this property, there is not a lot of like, you're not going to go walk somewhere to get breakfast. So you're going to probably, if you're staying here, you're going to eat breakfast on property. So book with us, save yourself $100+ a day on breakfast. Definitely a good value there.
Nice. Did you touch on like the outdoor gym?
No, that's actually a good one to call out. So there is also an outdoor fitness area, which in my mind, when I was picturing this, I'm like, oh, it's probably like right outside the actual gym. It is not. In fact, it is by the tennis courts and playground. So, I mean, it's not far. It's a couple hundred yards maybe from that main building to where the tennis courts are and like this fitness area. So not a ton of stuff out there, but it's got like the TRX bands. It's got some places you can like do pull-ups and things. It's got the sleds that you can push on, I'm talking about like you put weights on it, you push the sleds down like the path. So there's enough that if you want to get like an outdoor kind of like CrossFit type workout in, you could do that. So it'd be, it was a nice setup. It's right by the tennis courts, paddle courts, playground, things like that. So they have they had a really cool like outdoor area. When we were there, it seemed like right by this stuff, there's this huge field that I think eventually will be good for activities, but it looks like they just recently replanted the grass. So it was not a place that you could, it was still fairly like dirt and muddy out there. But I
Okay.
think once this grass like fills in, I don't know what their plans are for it, but I mean, it was a huge field. So I'm sure they'll be able to have like some type of outdoor, like you could play size of a soccer field, like you play soccer out there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I will say this is one of the days we were there. It definitely seems like they have a lot of meeting space. So depending on when you're there
Mm,
definitely could be a corporate event or things like that. Or if you were planning to have a wedding, like you could definitely tell that this is set up to have larger events. There's some fairly big meeting space. And they do a good job keeping it separate. Like one wing of the building is all like the meeting and event space. And it seems like there's a separate entrance and separate parking and everything just for that versus like the main entrance. But the night we got there, they were doing some type of corporate event because there was one of the restaurants was closed for the private event. And then the next day you could tell at lunchtime, there was like 100 people walking around with suits outside that must have been their lunch break where they let them out for a few minutes.
nice. Another note too, Windsor Great Park is a place that is kind of backs into this property. And so if you're into green spaces, a lot of activities, there's an infinite amount of stuff to do there. I think one thing, if you have kids, there's a thing called Adventure Play, which is a huge, it's like right outside one of the gardens. It is a humongous playground. Like Jamie mentioned, there's one at the Fairmont, which there is. And it's, I think, like 2 slides, very basic. This adventure play place is wild. I'll definitely find a way to put some footage up, but I mean, it like looks like ultimate treehouse, and it just
Yes.
builds, and you can walk across towers, and there's big slides, and almost looks like there's a little village in there. Some of the slides go from like a third story treehouse to a second story treehouse, so like you're not even coming back on the ground. I think you could play there all day. Couple downsides is you can't play there all day because you have to book sessions, and then for some reason this park closes at 3:15 p.m. on the weekdays and 4:15 on the weekends. So that's
Yeah,
British
as soon
people
as the
for
kids
you.
get out of school.
Yeah. So I mean, presumably if you're at this hotel, your kid is not in school, so you can
Yes.
go play there. I don't even know if it's seasonal, but I'll get some clips in here, and even if not, like I think it's a great shout as somewhere that's close that is also like a fun playground. Like my daughter, I seemingly could play there every day. And even if your kid is not like a playground kid, I do remember in doing my research for this property too, there's a lot of like wildlife activities. Like there's like guided, I think they had like, I forget what it was called, but they did like, it was like nature tots, and they had like young rangers and teen rangers that they take you out in sessions to go find like butterflies and teach them about botany and plants. So if you have more of like a nerdy kid, for lack of a, word, or there's like safaris. I remember there was like a bee thing that you could do as well. So that's also just another place you could add a lot of activities where you're not really having to like leave the property. You could probably bike to most of that
Yeah,
stuff, being
I
in
would
the
think
park
so.
right there too. So if you're a big fan of green space, there's like a lake there. I don't know if you can do anything on the lake, but it's a huge kind of estate tied to that whole area as well.
I think if we're talking about activities, one more I will call out that we had planned on doing this the day that Ashton was sick, and I'm glad I didn't buy the tickets ahead of time because we probably wouldn't have made it. There's an amusement park called Thorpe Park, which is fairly close
How do you
by. I want
spell
to
it?
Thorpe, I think it was. Let me pull it
Okay.
up. Yeah, Thorpe Park.
Oh, I
So
got it.
um, it is, I want to say it was close. It's like 15, 20 minutes away, but it is, looks like probably like a Six Flags type amusement park. They had quite a bit of roller coasters and things like that, but they were doing like a Fright Night thing, for Halloween, which looked really
Okay.
cool.
Oh, they have a
And
Walking Dead ride.
yeah, I mean, it
That's
looks like a legit
interesting.
park,
Okay.
but if you buy the tickets online ahead of time, it was very reasonable. Like if you bought the Fright Night ticket or whatever their version of it. Let me see what this thing was called. Yeah, Fright Night. It was £36 per person, but that got you in all day plus like the evening thing. So you're talking like $50 a person for, a full day at the amusement park plus whatever their, kind of Halloween Fright Night, horror night thing is. So if you're looking for something to do, it looked like a pretty cool park that had quite a bit of rides, quite a few roller coasters, things like that. And if you buy your tickets ahead of time, it seems quite reasonable. So that might be, if you got some older kids that want some more adrenaline type activities, it's a good option.
Yeah, and it looks like they have a water park too for the summer.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a
Thorpe
really
Lakes
nice
Aqua
park.
Park. Yeah. There you'll find, I just in general, there is a ton of stuff. Like within I want to just maybe we stretch out, say like a 15-20 minute drive. If you start drawing a circle of stuff, you'll find a lot of things. And I'll tell you somewhere I know Jamie did not go that was on my radar when you're out there is there is actually a Costco Sunbury is probably about a 15-minute drive from there. I was very eager to go to Costco
I would have
and
if I
see.
would have went and checked that out. I love Costco and especially in other places.
Yeah, so that's you can go see Costco in England. I don't know what they have on the menu. That's always what I like seeing what the new menu options are.
One other
And then
thing that I was gonna say that I thought you would have went to on the way in, there's a Ferrari dealership right by the property, like, in the middle of I don't wanna say middle of nowhere, but it is not a major, like, developed area. It's a couple,
yeah,
like, shops and houses and stuff, and there's a Ferrari dealership right on the corner.
interesting. I didn't catch that one, I will say. There's a Tesco not too far outside the, store too. If you've never been to England, I think part of being an English person or an English experience is doing the Tesco meal deals. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's nothing really exciting, but, like, if you have a club card member, so you need a club card, I think, they, like, make some meal there's, like, usually, like, a $4 and $6 meal deal that day. So it's just always these discounted little meals. So if you're not like a huge eater, you're in a rush, I think Tesco's always is just a fun little thing I think a lot of British people do. And then I will say, I feel like we covered a lot. I will say there's a couple other hotels in this area. I think though, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have kids, I think the Fairmont's the only option. I did a lot of research on some of these properties. Fairmont is also, I think, the one offering the best benefits of some of these, but a lot of these other ones are like boutique older homes. Most of them are only two-person occupancy, they don't really
Yeah.
I mean, that tells me you don't want children whether you're saying it or not, but, there's like a hotel, Monkey Island, that's nearby. I think Great Foster's is another one, Fox Hills Country Club, and you can look and do an endless amount of properties, I think, in this area. I like Monkey Island Estate, I don't know if I said that one. There's also a Marriott not too far that's an autograph collection called the Langley Estate, and I think this is way better, I think we mentioned too, than doing like a layover and stay all the Heathrow hotels kinda suck. So, like, I think some of these are just fun ideas, add a day or 2 in your trip, especially if you're having to come and go out of town. And there is a if you really wanna get deep into the English countryside, and there's an infinite amount of hotels and small chains and everything, there's a lady I follow on Instagram and TikTok called The Hotel Snob, and she is actually used to work for SLH Hotels, and now she's on her own, but she just drives around mostly in reviews, like, hotels in the Cotswolds, the English countryside, and the north stuff. If we ever end up having a guest on the show, if she would come on, I don't know if she listens, but we talk on TikTok and stuff at times. I would definitely love to have her on the show just
Oh,
to talk
cool.
about some of these, obscure properties all around England. But just a tip if you're ever really looking to dig deep and doing like a Cotswolds trip. But I think you could tack on this Four Seasons, this Fairmont into that trip, maybe the beginning or end of one of those as well.
If you are coming to Fairmont Windsor Park, I would definitely suggest renting a car. It is not conveniently located anywhere. So, I mean, if you were going to try to take the train from London, you're still going to end up needing to get from the train station to this hotel. So, rent a car. I did a one-way rental. I picked the car up in London and dropped it off at the Heathrow Airport.
Oh,
It's
that's cool.
maybe added $50 one way or something. Whatever it wasn't significant. Parking's free at the hotel, so you can valet, you can self-park. So it wasn't a significant add to the cost. One tip, if you rent from Sixt, they're the only one that has a on airport location versus like having to shuttle in. So if you rent from Sixt, you can drop it like right off and walk to the terminal. So that was kind of nice. But
Do they have
you know,
one at both the terminal sides? Do you know? Or is it
I
just one?
I think it's just one because we had to
Okay.
hike from where we dropped the car off to whatever the international one was. I mean, you could have taken the train or whatever it was there, but I needed my steps for my Fitbit, so I was walking.
Well, that's like one of the hard things I have with some of the hotels. Like, there's a couple nice hotels. Like, if you're flying out of Terminal 5, for example, there's a nice hotel at Terminal 5. But then if you're flying out of Terminal 4, let's say, there's no easy way. Like, it's such a convoluted,
Yeah.
I don't, because Terminal 4 is on the opposite side of the airport, on the other side of the runway. Why are they 5 and 4 like that? I don't know. But somehow, every time I book British Airways, I always get stuck. I think I book like the cheap airports. I don't know. I always get stuck in like Terminal 3, which doesn't have the Concord Lounge and the whatnot. But that is nice though, because I will say the last 2 times I've been to England, I rented with National, and it doesn't seem that far on paper. Like when you look, you're like, oh, it's just on the other side of the runway, but it's probably like a 20-minute bus ride to
Yes.
the terminal.
So it's funny you say that. I did not read the instructions properly. So I was just following like rental car return and there was no six there. And I'm like, what the heck? So it was 12 minutes, me driving 12 minutes from the rental car, like all the
Yeah.
other rental cars to the actual six where I was supposed to go. I pulled up the app and it's like, oh, you need to go here, here, and here. Now I still did make a wrong turn. And I don't know if you know this, London Heathrow charges £6 to drop off passengers.
I did
And
not.
it's all like license plate based. So I had actually swung through like, the departure area and there's big
Uh-huh.
signs. It's like, go online to this website and make the payment, blah, blah, blah. So I returned the car to six and I'm like, hey, I made a wrong turn. Do I need to pay this? He's like, yeah, you need to pay it by like midnight tonight.
Oh my gosh.
So I'd like go on before I got a ticket for not paying the drop off fee.
Wow. So your sixth top tip being in the terminal wasn't even really intentional. You lucked into that
Yes.
situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That was not my plan. I learned that on the fly.
Oh,
And
that's well.
one other tip driving in London, you may have experienced this before. They have congestion zones that you have to pay a something for, like a toll, which I didn't see, didn't know. And I got a $170 ticket in the mail or email.
Ooh. Well, a top tip most of the time is so I don't know how it works there because I think London has a congestion charge every day. What I would do, and we can do this for you, but whatever it may be, if you have a car and you're going to any major city in Europe, talk to the hotel. We can talk to the hotel for you. Because in a lot of instances, when you give your plate to the hotel, they file it. And then a lot of those you're exempt. So, like, I remember, like, for example, in Milan, when we were staying there, there's like I think it's like if your car is not like a super low emissions vehicle, you have to pay a fee or you can't enter unless you're like a resident or you're doing a delivery. So, the hotel basically puts your plate on a list and saying, like, this person is like residing here. So then you enter and go out without the penalty and fines. I will say I found this new trend, and this is gonna be my new TikTok rant of today, Instagram or even YouTube. I find that there's all these people trying to make driving in Europe sound far more difficult than like it's just like this fear monger, like, oh my God, you're gonna get there and you're not gonna know, and it's gonna be listen, if you can drive in a major city in America, you can drive anywhere in Europe. Now, some of the roads are going to be a little more narrow. You got to be a little more careful. All the cars are smaller. You probably need to know how to parallel park. But if you live in any major city, you should already know how to do that. It's not hard. You just have to get a few things right. And here's the best part: even if you don't, you're just going to come home to a couple $100 in fines and just call it part of your rental, right? Like
Yep.
Jamie did. Just don't do the research. Write an extra. Just in your budget, be like $500 for red light tickets or speed cameras. I will say, when you get into the English countryside, you're never going to get anywhere fast because I think I don't know about where you drove, Jamie, but from Heathrow to the Four Seasons, I think, which I mentioned was like a 45, 50-minute drive. I think every 400 to 800 meters, quarter mile, half mile, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
uh, there is a speed camera on whatever stupid
Y-
highway I take. And I was like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Like, don't even plan on speeding.
You're going the speed limit. Yeah. You're going the speed
Yeah,
limit.
you're going the speed limit, so don't be like, "I can make up some time on the road." If you wanna Google some of those, I think most of the thing they're ULEZ zones in most countries or some form of that, or just look up, like, congestion fees or traffic. A lot of major cities have exemptions for electric cars. However, I don't know how thrilled I would be if you don't own an electric car at home, I don't think I would be bold enough to just go get one on vacation, like, if you're not familiar with the process, unless you're just not driving a lot. Man, I even had a hybrid we own an electric vehicle at home. My wife daily drives one, and we did a hybrid on our Portugal trip. And I plugged it in one time at one of these machines, and it locked the machine.
Oh,
And so, like, I couldn't remove somehow my app that you needed. I mostly just did it to, like, I wanted to park close because the
yeah.
plugs were like
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
popular park. So I just plugged it in. I downloaded the app. I did the whole thing. for some reason, my app crashed or something happened. And so it like wouldn't release. Like I couldn't get the manual. There's even like a manual release. And what stinks in Europe, unlike a lot of places here, you provide both sides of the cable at a lot of the
Oh,
chargers
interesting.
there. So it's a cable from my car that's now
Yeah.
locked into their machine. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll like leave it and they won't notice that it's gone. And thankfully, the guy using the charger next to me went to school. I mean, most people in Portugal speak decent English, but he like had gone to university in America. And so he was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he had like a 2-year-old. I've got my 4-year-old daughter. It's hot. It's July. We're at this park and, no shade. And he's like, "Oh, this will be easy." And he tried to do it. He couldn't get it. So then he ended up
Oh boy.
calling the charging company, and it was a 20-30 minute conversation with him speaking Portuguese to get them to like manually release it because in my app I canceled it, but the machine still saw it as charging, and it was good fun. I also had a gas car because it was a hybrid, so I just never charged it ever again. I think other than outside the hotel, I charged it because the hotel had free chargers. But
Yeah.
I just mean like if you're not doing the charging thing on your daily life, I don't do it on vacation. You know what I mean? Don't make that
Yeah, I
choice.
would agree.
I think personally. But and if you do rent a car from Heathrow and you're not going into London, Heathrow is outside of the congestion zone too. So if you're going other places in England, you don't even have to sweat that situation, which is nice. Anything else on this trip? Book it. Go today.
Yeah, definitely check it out. This is, like I said, this is a good way to end your, if you're going to London, this is a nice way to end it.
Okay. Did you give like an overall rating on the food at this hotel? Like, is it better than your average English
Yeah,
hotel, or like, English food is
I would say,
known to be the best.
yeah,
So,
I would definitely say yes. And again, I'll go back to the room service because I really enjoyed, and I think they did a good job. Like, they have an international section on there. So they have like some Indian food. They've got, traditional like English food. They've got a whole like variety of stuff. My daughter got like some kind of chicken curry. My wife got like fried rice the one night. They were
okay,
both really good. So like, I think across the board, their dining was really good. Their breakfast was amazing.
perfect.
I'll
Jamie,
say
I
my
think
only
that's an
complaint.
episode.
I have one complaint about breakfast. If
Oh
I was
boy, what's your
paying,
complaint?
I'm going to say, if I was paying £50 out of pocket, they didn't
Mhm.
have fresh squeezed orange juice, which
Oh
I
my
thought
gosh, did they have real maple syrup?
yes, they had real maple syrup, but the
Okay,
orange juice, I'm like, if I was paying $65 or $70, I'm like, I don't know.
that is a tough one. I really like the hotels. I have you been to some of the hotels in Europe that have the machines
Yes, yeah,
where they put
I
the
love
yeah.
that. Yeah, just at
Even
that
if it
price
doesn't
point,
taste even if it doesn't taste better, watching them put it in the machine makes me
I
feel a
love that.
lot better.
Yeah, I just feel like at that price point, you should be doing fresh squeezed orange juice.
Yeah, the Park Hyatt Zurich, we I took my in-laws, and my father-in-law is like an orange juice fiend, and I think he must have consumed 30 to 40 glasses of orange juice at breakfast over the 10 days he was like, "This orange juice is great." He's
That's
like,
my
"Can I
kind of
can I have
guy.
another orange?" Yeah, he's like, "Can I have another orange juice?" And I'm like, "Well, it's free, it's breakfast." Like,
Yep,
he was, like, so nervous he was gonna get, like, a $200 bill for orange juice when we checked
that's
out, but
fair.
awesome. Alright, Jamie, well, I think we gave you a lot of info on this property. I think it's definitely worth going. I might still do it another day, but it feels now that you reviewed it for the podcast, it's a little less pertinent for me to attend with so much stuff. But the English countryside, I think, is probably the most underrated vacation destination in Europe, probably. I think there's just so much cool stuff out there. There's so many cool properties, and it's every English person you think in your head is like going to Spain for vacation. And so you're certainly not getting the dollar value as you are in a lot of other places in Europe. But I think there's just so much, especially if you are into like history or
Yeah.
just Jane Austen, or I don't know, you want to feel like a English version of what is an English version of a cowboy? I don't know. Whatever that is, I kind of get that feeling there for sure. If you want to channel your inner Jeremy Clarkson, whatever his new farm
Yep.
show is. I've never watched it, but I know he has like a show now where he lives on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, which would be cool. If you want to book with us, if you want to book this hotel, any Accor property, we mentioned the Accor HERA programs episode, or just anywhere in general, if you got a really fun cruise you want to go on, you need help, we can do some intricate travel plans as well. Obviously, this podcast, we focus on hotels, but travelbrospod.com/book with us. The link is in the bio of all these. Follow us on social media. Give us a shout. We love to hear from you, unless you're saying something negative. I mean, I'm still going to
Yeah.
read it, but I'm not as excited to hear from you. But, generally, if you have something positive or a question about a property, post it in there. I will try and get back to you as best as I can. We'll see you next week. We're getting close to episode 50. Jamie,
Uh,
I will talk to you soon.
See ya.